All right, today we're happy to have join us from Little Rock, Arkansas. He's retired professional golfer, a co-host on the podcast called Subpar. He's also on the radio at Sirius XM, the PGA Tour channel. I believe it's channel 92. He's a beauty. With all of that, we're pleased to have on today the sleazy man, Drew Stoltz.
Good to be with you, boys. Thanks for having me on. Dude, I haven't been called from Little Rock, Arkansas in a long time. Did you get that from my Canadian tour bio?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah, dude. It puts like birthplace. I was born in Little Rock. I grew up in Arkansas for like 8 years. But then I moved to Colorado. So Colorado is like where I'm from. But on that Canadian deal, whatever, it had like birthplace, but then they would like announce you from your birthplace. Like you could have been born there and never lived, and moved somewhere and never, they always announced me. Like anytime I did anything, they wrote up like Stoltz from Little Rock, Arkansas. I was like, oh shit, there it is. So I haven't heard Little Rock in a long time, but yeah, good to be with y'all.
Absolutely.
Did Little Rock recruit you?
UALR, University of Arkansas. I took a visit. I got some love from University of Arkansas. I took a visit down there, actually. We used one of my visits on Arkansas. I got some family still down there. Good spot, good team now. Little Daly holding the flag for the squad down there. That's actually a really fun school, dude. Fayetteville's a time. Fayetteville goes, dude. And it's like, that's the only show, by the way, in that state. They don't got NFL. They don't got NBA. They don't got, you know what I mean? The Razorbacks, the Hogs are the show down there. So I got a lot of family that went to Arkansas, played some sports at Arkansas and stuff. So I still got some allegiance to them. But that's a fun. Fayetteville's a fun town to spend a weekend in.
Love it.
Hey, you mentioned Colorado, so you must be boys with good guy of ours, John Michael Lyles. You must golf with him at all, hey?
I don't know if we cross paths a lot. I was trying to think of some guys like there's some Canadian dudes, like the guys I used to run around with up on the Canadian tour. Like you guys know Graham Dillette, right? But then there's another dude in our little squad. Like we had a pack of like 4 or 5 that we kind of traveled with. James Love, do y'all know James from Alberta? Yeah, he's a Denver guy. So James and I and Graham and like Barrett Jarash is a guy from Edmonton.
Yeah,
he's a good player. And then Andres Gonzalez, that was kind of like our little squad that we ran around with. But James is a Denver guy. So I got to know James even like, he's like kind of the reason I went to play Canada, because he was in Denver, had played like a year before, because he was already out of college. And then he was like, you should come play up here. It's sweet. And that's kind of where it started.
You hung out with Deeks a good bit too, didn't you?
Yeah, dude. I just saw Deeks at the US Open last week too, by the way, up in Brookline. I finally got to catch up with him. It'd been a long time, and it's cool to see what he's done. I mean, to be the dude at Florida, just got that extension too. He's doing it, man. I hadn't seen him in a while. Looks exactly the same, just with he's got little shades of grays, a little salt and pepper now up top. But Deeks was in the house. I mean, dude, there was a great crew of dudes on that tour at the time. A few of them made it out and got on the PGA Tour and did some things. Graham probably being the biggest one, but we just had, dude, that tour was just fun as shit. It was the hardest dollar on planet Earth. You had to play better golf to make less money than ever before, but damn, it was fun, dude.
Awesome. All right, Drew, I want to, first off, how are things with you? What's new? What's going on? And then obviously I want to backtrack to a young Drew Stoltz with, hobbies and whatnot you're up to. And, golf was one of them, but what's new with you? And, we'll talk about your podcast a little later on here, but what's happening? You just mentioned the US Open and, what's happening in your world?
Yeah, man, it's been a busy like 6 weeks or so. So yeah, I just got back from the US Open. We did radio from up there for the week, and then we had a live event for the podcast, which we do on major weeks up there for Doers. Shout out Doers. So we had that event up there. That was awesome. Got back. We've been banging out some podcasts. Our travel schedule between Colt and I gets a little bit tricky in the summers, because he goes out on the road, does the broadcast and things like. Then there's other things that come up. So we try to do as many pods when we're in the same place at the same time as possible. So we just banged out a few of those this week. We'll probably do a couple more next week before each of us kind of take off. And then, dude, just around the crib, like I got 2 little girls. Being a dad, I got one just turned 6 months, and the other one turns 3 years old here like next week. So we got a big birthday party coming up for that. And then just I'm gonna get out of Scottsdale for a lot of July, go up to Flagstaff, which is like a 2-hour drive up the road. And it's like 30 degrees cooler. It's basically like driving to Colorado in 2 hours. And I'm going to hang up there. And like, I haven't been playing hardly any golf. Played that USGA 4-ball a couple months ago, and we had a good run in that. I haven't played really. I played one little member guest since then, but I don't play a lot in the summers because it's so hot here. So going up to Flag should give me a chance to play a little golf too. So it'll be nice.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, well, down in Saskatchewan, and I know Tori's quite, fond of the weather up here. It's either raining and you can't golf, or it's windy and 87K and you're just frustrated. So that's what we get. And then it snows the next month. So we're already preparing for the winter, which is awesome.
Yeah, you got a short little window, window up there. How's Dakota Dunes doing, dude?
I heard it's mint right now. I haven't been up. I heard it's unbelievable though right now. Yeah, you would have been there.
The best round of my professional career on that bitch during like hurricane level winds. I'm talking like blowing to 40. If the greens had any speed on them at the time, the balls would have been rolling all over the place. And I had like a 2 or 3 shot lead. I shot, and the day it blew really hard that day, I shot like 63 or 64 out there. It was like literally the best round of golf I've ever played. I had like 8 birdies and an eagle, and it was a hurricane level wind. And I was leading going the weekend and then shit the bed. And that's always been my glory. Whenever we talk about the old days, I'm like, yeah, dude, what about Dakota Dunes though? What about that round? Maybe possibly the round of the millennium up there. So that was my one claim to fame up there, was that round of golf.
That's what Dale said one time. He shot 62 there, set a record, and then the next year was 61. So no.
Yeah, if it's one of those courses, like if it's calm, which it probably never is. I don't know. I'm only there. I've only been there 1 week at a time. You will dismantle. It's like going to Bandon Dunes and play it in no wind. Like, dude, you hit wedges and sand wedges and it's not blowing. Like, it's not hard, but it's supposed to be blowing 30. You know what I mean? Yeah. You get like, you walk up and like, this hole's 400 yards. Last time I played here, I had a 4-iron into this thing. You know what I mean? It's the same thing up there. If you catch it calm, I mean, you're just flicking it around, but it probably is calm twice a year.
Yep.
Drew, growing up, did you play any other sports other than golf?
Yeah, I played a lot of stuff as a little kid, but I guess as I got older, like it was just golf and basketball. So growing up in Colorado, like even if you wanted to play golf year round, we didn't have like the indoor facilities and all the shit like that they have now, you know what I mean? And the TrackMans and all that sort of stuff. So like basically our state championship was the first week of October. That was spotty whether or not you'd get good weather. I played in snow one year in my freshman year. It snowed when we were down in southern Colorado. So like once October hits, it's pretty hit or miss. So you got to do something else. And I grew up my whole life playing basketball. I played basketball like through high school pretty much, just because you didn't have any other option, dude. You know what I mean? My junior year, I went and played a bunch of like junior tournaments around the country during the winter, but it was hard because you can't even hit balls. You can't play. You might show up in North Carolina having not played in 2 months, and you're playing against kids from Florida and Georgia, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. So yeah, basketball was like my my other sport. I always liked to hoop, and I played like intramurals in college until I banged up my knee and got had to miss an event because of my knee, and then I was never played again after that until I graduated college. But yeah, pretty much golf and basketball.
Gotcha.
Drew, I want to talk junior golf. When did you kind of go, hey, like I'm pretty good at this sport, and I'm going to try and go for it, and play college and whatnot. And we'll talk college. I couldn't find it online because the internet's just all about your podcast, which is great because you're doing great with that. But talk some junior golf, and when you were probably winning club championships, crushing milkshakes and whatnot. But walk us through your junior golf.
Yeah, I got into golf like when I was probably like about 12 years old, which I guess is pretty late by today. I kind of played golf, but dude, it was more like running around, just wanting to go out with my dad and drive the golf cart type of stuff. And then when I hit about 12, for whatever reason, like I just got that bug like people get. And like from that point on, it was ride my bike up to the golf course in the morning, play golf every day till the last minute of sunlight, and then it gets dark and ride my bike home. And I did that over and over and over. It's all I wanted to do. But I'd say starting like freshman year of high school, that's when Tiger hit the scene, 97 Masters. And all of a sudden, like golf was like, cool. You know what I mean? And that's what I was like, dude, it's all like, I'll play basketball in the winters, but like, that's just to kill time until it gets nice again. Golf was everything. And so, I had a pretty decent like junior and like amateur career in Colorado, won some of the, like big junior events or whatever in Colorado, won our state title, our state championship in high school after finishing runner up my junior year. And then played AJGAs. I had some good events in those. Lost in a playoff was the best I got. I never won one. That playoff haunted me for a while, but went on to college, started getting looks, and I kind of had it narrowed down. I wanted to go somewhere warm, somewhere south. I was kind of thinking either Pac-12 or SEC or somewhere down south. And like, I was playing in a AJGA event down in Phoenix, right down the road from where I am now, actually at South Mountain. It was like the Thunderbird or the Rolex or something like that. And I was having a nice week. I was in the final group the last day with Kevin Na, who was, by the way, wore like all black everything. And it was like 110 degrees, black pants, black everything. And I didn't have I played fine. I just had one blow up hole, but like there was a bunch of coaches out there and I started getting a bunch of letters and things like that. I ended up going to TCU, which like really wasn't even on the map for me at the time. I really liked SMU. So it kind of came down to like SMU, TCU, and Vanderbilt were my final 3 schools, which are kind of like the same school, just in different towns. And TCU had a great golf program at the time. They were like top 3 in the country when I signed. And dude, couldn't have been happier to go there. I went to SMU and it was like pissing rain and kind of cold on the day I took my visit there. And then the next day was my TCU visit. It was like sun was out, babes were out. You know what I mean? It was like a total. I always wonder like, what if it was sunny at SMU and rainy at TCU? Maybe I'd gone to SMU. But that's kind of the way it shook out. So yeah, starting freshman year is when I was really like, this is what I want to do, and that's like the only thing I want to do.
TCU's in Fort Worth, correct?
Yeah, Fort Worth, just right down the road from Dallas.
How much damage did you do there?
Oh, dude, it's a fun town. Like we get Colt went to SMU, so we got a lot of TCU, SMU back and forth. Fort Worth is like, you can wear jeans and a t-shirt and pretty much go to any spot you want to go to in Fort Worth. And Dallas is like, you need the button up and the bottles and the clubs and all that. So it's like just a little more laid back, a little more country. Like we got the Stockyards down there, one of the best bars in the world, honky tonk bars. Billy Bob's is an all-time spot. All these country acts roll through there, dude. And it's just good people. And my little crew that I had there, there was one golfer that I kind of like ran around with, like socially. We're all friends, but it was I lived with our quarterback for the last 2 years of college, I guess. A couple baseball players, a few other football players. And dude, it was just like, you don't realize that at the time, how fucking great it is until you leave and you're like, oh my God, that was the best thing of all time. So if I had to go back to college and do it all over again, I'd head right back to Fort Worth.
100%.
That's sick. Drew, I want to talk about your pro career, and you mentioned the dunes, and we'll get back to that. But how was it? And this is the experience, and like obviously my next question is just on how hard it is. And I have a few buddies that are playing now on the Canadian tour, and just like they see the grind and Monday queuing and whatnot. But like you were playing, and I can't recall for how long, but you would have played enough, and to really experience the full thing. What is that day-to-day grind like? And even when you're in the running for a top 10 or whatever it is, just walk through your pro experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's a grind just because there's so many good players and there's so many guys, and they come out like even today, like nowadays, it's even better. Like the college kids coming out are so much more well polished. They're ready to play professional golf right away. And there's a bunch of guys that I think are good enough. If you just beam them on to the Korn Ferry Tour or the PGA Tour, like they could hold their own. They could keep a card mostly. I don't know that they're going to be winning. I think the top 20, 25 guys in the world are just built different. Like they're in a different stratosphere. And then the rest of the guys are like fillers, more like they're kind of interchangeable. Right. You know what I mean? But getting there is so hard. And especially coming out, it's just like, there's no draft. There's no, like, oh, you're a great college player. Cool. Here's your shot at the league. Like you got to go get it at Q school, and Q school turns into the ultimate grind. Cause I've seen it so many times where there's guys that are playing on the mini tours, Monday qualifiers and things like that. I'm like, dude, this kid is a monster. Like he's going to go get his card. He's going to do big things. And then Q school comes around, second stage, boom, he has one bad round, shoots 75 one round. You're like, well, he's done. And it's a whole nother year to get back out there unless you can Monday in a bunch of times and play your way. So I think it's one of those things, like the longer you don't have status somewhere, the more like scar tissue you have and the harder and harder it gets. And so I just set like a hard stop for myself. I said, if I turn 30 and I don't have a full PGA Tour card, like I'm out. Like that's long enough. You know what I mean? So I did it for like 6-7 years, played, had chances, got my Korn Ferry Tour card, got starts, then, was more conditional and had to Monday qualify. And my last year, I ended up just spending I was like, I'm done with mini tours. Even though I'd done well enough, and at times there were mini tours where you could make enough money to keep yourself afloat and even and make some money, put some money in your pocket too. And I was lucky to play in like that time. And I would play great in those things, and I was making some money. But what does it get you? It just all you're doing is buying yourself time until you get to one of these tours. And my last year, I pretty much said exclusively, I'm going to Monday qualify for Korn Ferry and PGA Tour events if I'm not getting starts on the Korn Ferry Tour. And I did it, and I burned through more money so quickly, shooting 67s and going home and losing in playoffs. Or oh, cool, I got in one, I made it. And then you try to put the pedal down so hard that you end up getting out of just playing golf. You know what I mean? And it's just every time you get a start, you feel like this has to be the week. This needs to be a top 5. This needs to be a top 10. Something to get me another start and to jump up the money list or to jump up your category. and stuff like that, it can wear you down. And like, I would say that probably the most fun years of my life were some of those years. It's like where all you're doing is rolling around with your boys, playing events. You're still grinding. Someone wins 12 grand and you think they're a millionaire. You know what I mean? Like you're the king of the castle. But it's also over time, I think it just beats you down, because you see these young kids come out and bam, they do it right away. Or you see a guy that you've been beating all year long and he gets through Q school and now he's got a card and you don't, and you got to wait another year. It's a different animal. And like every dude, I said that there's so many guys that you could just beam onto those tours and they could hold their own. At the same time, those guys that are on those tours that have done it, like they all went through the same shit. They all had to go sack up at Q school and they all had to finish a round where they couldn't breathe and their nuts were upside up in their throat. You know what I mean? Like everybody that did it earned their way there. So you can't knock them. And I had every chance, every opportunity. I would go back to a few rounds I would like to have over that might have changed the course of things. But as it shakes out now, like with what I'm doing now, I'm thrilled to not have to be out there grinding it out every single week, because the talent level is just ridiculous now.
Unreal. You brought up earlier, you mentioned you just played in the US 4-ball and came second. First of all, did you get the medals yet?
Have not retrieved the medals. So shout out to anyone in Birmingham, near or around the Country Club of Birmingham. There's 2 silver medals, USGA silver medals around there somewhere that we cannot locate.
It's about 30 minutes from my house. I might go do some sniffing.
Yeah, we got a little dinged up that night, and they given them to us at the little award ceremony. And I think we just had a bit of a night there and just wandered off without them at the end of the night. I didn't even realize it till we got home. I was like, "Yo, Kitty, you got our medals?" And he's like, "Nah, I don't got them." I was like, "Well, I don't have them, so I guess they're still sitting on the porch."
Dude, they put on a good show there. I played the US Mid when it was there. Yeah, and it was like, man, they had a big old party out by the pool. Oh. It was awesome.
Dude, that place was fantastic. The people were awesome. Food. Like people were out walking around. The course was incredible shape. Nothing but love for Country Club of Birmingham and all the members and people that came out.
So I mentioned this briefly in my first message to you. The caddy master at Shoal Creek asked me if I wanted to go. He said Harold had a couple buddies coming in and would I want to go with them? And I was like, man, it's going to be hot doing 36 or whatever. Like, cause that West course, that's a rough walk. I don't know how you guys did it.
Dude, I don't either. The rounds took forever.
That is a nasty walk.
Yeah.
But no, I was like, let me think about it. And then I came in and he goes, "Oh, Chino's going to go with him." I was like, "Okay, sweet." And then I read on Twitter, I saw your name or whatever in the Golf Week article. And it said he had a caddy named Chino. And I was like, fuck, if I would have known that was Drew, I was like, I would have definitely gone.
You called me right after. He's like, I just turned down Stoltz's bag. I'm like, no, we need him on the podcast now, at least.
Dude, that's wild. What a world. Cause yeah, we showed up down there, dude. Like I flew in the night before the tournament started, like with no practice round, no nothing, hadn't done anything. We were kind of scrapping it all together at the last minute. And then I was like, do we got a loop or what? Like I was fully prepared to just carry my own. I'm like, yeah, dude, we got a guy from Shoal Creek. He's a good caddy. He's caddy for a bunch of like the South American guys, Latin American guys. Like he's solid. I was like, perfect. So he's like, but we only got one guy. I was like, perfect. We'll get through stroke play and see how it goes. And if we need another guy, we'll get another guy. And here comes Chino, dude. Fucking legend that is Chino. This dude is an animal, a workhorse. Mm-hmm. He was, Kitty'd hit it down the right, I'd hit it down the left. He'd have Kitty's number, walk over, I get my number, clubs, blah. Hey, we're gonna read this. Like he was everywhere at all times. And like you said, you get to that other course, the main course, dude, walking that thing is a beast. I mean, we were coming off of that thing, playing 2 matches. All right, go into the next day. You tee off at 7:05 in the morning or whatever it was. And he's showing up fresh as a daisy, lugging those things around. I was dying and I wasn't carrying shit. Chino is a monster. So shout out to Chino. Anytime we got like interviewed or like the awards or whatever, I was making sure I was like, yo, Chino this is the dude y'all need to talk about. He is a monster. And he's a great cat. He wasn't just getting around and getting there fast, but like, dude, he had numbers. He had like, all right, 6 off the back, wins in a little bit. I think it's playing this night. You know what I mean? Like he's a legit caddy too. He was nails, man.
Did you guys at least play the East course first?
Yeah, we played the East first.
That's a good draw. Especially coming in the night before.
Yeah, we played the East first. We were super late. We hadn't seen the golf course. I'm not even a big practice round guy anyway, dude. I'm just like, let's just look. I'll see if you hit in the fairway, like you're going to be pretty good. If there's any weird stuff, just tell me. We showed up and played that and we were thumping on all cylinders after the front nine. We kind of whatever did a few like couple 2 under or something, 2 or 3 under on the front nine. By the back nine, we had a little rain delay, so we got to go in and have a few pops, things like that. We came back out just bird, and I was like, dude, let's just run it right now and go to that other side of the. Let's go see if they'll let us play the front nine of the other course right now because it's all systems go.
Boom.
Wild.
Dude, that West course is nasty. Hey, this is kind of a selfish question just because no one listening has any clue about this course, but what do you think are the hardest holes on the West?
I'll tell you right now. So is it 1, 2? 2 is hard. 2 is a tough hole. Long par 4 up the hill. If you miss the fairway, it's really hard to hit that green.
I got that written down right here.
2 is a good. We won 2 in the championship match. I was the only guy that made par in the championship match, and on number 2, 2 won the hole, or 4 won the hole, and then you got 3, 4, 5's the par 3. 6 and 7, dude. Six. I hit the fairway like one time for whatever reason, and people were blowing it all over the lot on that hole. And then 7 is an awkward tee shot too, for whatever reason. Like you need to aim down, you need to hit it on like the right edge of the fairway for it to barely stay on the left. And like people were missing left all day, and then you're in the trees. So 6 and 7 we had trouble with. And dude, we lost the championship on the extra holes on number 1. We played number 1 like however many times, 6 or 7 times. We like never hit that fucking fairway, and it's the easy. I should have pulled like a 5 iron at the end of the day just to get one in the fairway after Kitty hit it in the right trees. I knew it was dead. I was like, and I take a hybrid. I try to get it down there, but I just got a little flip in, and I hit it in the trees too. And I'm like, we're about to lose on the easiest par 4 in the world because we can't hit 4 irons in the fairway.
I had 2, 5, and 6 written down as my 3 hardest holes out there. That par 3, 5 kills me. But Chino brought up that you guys couldn't hit the first fairway. He brought that up to me.
Dude,
and he also couldn't. I want to know what does the museum mean?
Yes, the museum, dude. So that's actually the nickname for my putter. We call it the museum. I'm like, yo, grab the museum. And he like Kitty, my partner Drew Kittleson is the guy that made up the name, because I think one day we were putting or we were playing and I was making some putts or something, and he's like, dude, that thing is like legend. I was like, dude, this thing belongs in a museum. And he just started just calling it the museum. He's like, yo, here, the museum. So like from now on, all we've ever called, that was years and years ago, we just call it the museum. And I know I'd look at Kitty, I'd be like, museum time or something like that. And he's like, yeah. So then anytime I would make a putt the whole time, like Chino would, speak Spanish first, I think, because like it would be like El Museo. And that was like kind of like our little battle call or whatever. I was like, yeah, dude, museum
I love
time.
It. That is so cool, man.
All right,
he's the best.
I want to talk about subpar. We had Colt on probably a year ago now. Great dude. Great dude. Funny stories. Good at his job. Great at his job. So are you. You guys are killing it. I was telling Tori the other day, you guys are kind of like missing curfew of the golf world. You guys have great guests. You do a great job from 2 guys that have played, and still cover the game. I guess walk us through, how you started it and, what made both you guys just get into podcasting.
Yeah, so I had been out of golf for a little while. Colt was still playing. He was on, playing on tour, had his card and all that. And I kind of bounced around from a few different things when I got out of golf. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. Tried a few things, didn't like them. Didn't really know what to do. Started randomly. I got contacted by this company called Action Network to start doing a golf podcast with them. But it was more like around golf gambling. But I was like, yeah, I'll do it. You know what I mean? It's more just for fun than anything. It was like a hobby. I was like, yeah, I'll go bullshit about some golf.
Yeah.
Things like that. Well, as things started to go on, that podcast was happening. Colt was kind of, I guess, getting probably near the end of like playing golf. He'd had some injuries he was fighting. He only had a few starts left on his medical and all that stuff. And so he and I were just kind of talking about it one time. And he had actually reached out via his agent to PGA Tour Radio about possibly doing a radio show. And he went out and had a meeting in LA at Riviera with the guy that's the president of Sirius XM. He's like, yeah, dude, we'll give you a shot. We'll give you 1 hour a week. Like 1 hour a week is not, you know what I mean? That's like a hobby too.
Right.
But so Colt is like, okay, well, let's start. So I think he was still playing. I think he still had starts left, you know what I mean, on the PGA Tour at the time. But it was kind of like, what's next? So he called me right after that meeting. He's like, yo, dude, we're going to just start doing a show on PGA Tour Radio. Here we go. I want you to host with me. I was like, fucking done. And like rewind years ago, right when I had got out of golf, Gary McCord had approached me, and he and I were like slated to do a radio show together. And it was all green light, everything good. Here's your start date. Here's all this. And like, at the 11th hour, just to make a long story short, the plug got pulled, I think by CBS, because they were like kind of controlled what Gary could and couldn't do in the media. And they're like, yeah, it's probably not the right time or whatever reason. And so it like died at the 11th hour. But I'd kind of made some relationships within Sirius during the time. But then I was like, I went from like, this is the best thing ever, that's exactly what I want to do, to now, what the hell am I going to do?
Yeah.
And then you rewind, or you fast forward like 3 more years. That's where the deal with Colt came. We start doing this radio show around that same time, or just a little bit prior. Some people at golf.com had come to me after like doing the Action Network. We're like, hey, we want to get in the podcast game, where we want to get more digital. We're more like magazines and stuff, but this is where it's all going. Would you want to do a podcast? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Here's exactly what I want to do. I want to interview, like long form interviews with players, but like different, not just like interviews, like let people see how these guys actually are. Cause there's some cool dudes, but it's hard to see in, Golf Channel post round.
Yeah.
And, so they were like, done, let's do that. We're going to start around this time. During that time is when Colt came to me with the radio thing. And I was like, hey dude, that's awesome. Thanks for asking me to co-host. I'd love to do that. By the way, here's a podcast coming too that I'm going to do with golf.com. Why don't you do that with me? And it'll just be kind of like the same brand doing all the shit. And he was like, yeah, perfect. So like we started, our first radio show was, I guess like 3 or 4 years ago, Masters Week. We came out and had Jordan Spieth on, and it's like, as we started going on the radio, they were like, okay, I like this. Why don't you guys go to 3 days a week, 2 hours a day. So that ramped up pretty quick. Then the podcast started. We started going with that. I had no idea how it would go, but we tried out.
Yeah.
And that started going well. And so then it was just like, all of a sudden, this stuff that was just like fun to do, we'll see how it goes type of deal, turned into like real shit. And now here we are like 3 years later. And like, I think both of us are, quite honestly, like surprised at how well it's gone in a short amount of time as it has.
Yeah,
your original episode with Andres was maybe probably my favorite by far.
Dre, dude. Dre, that's the thing, is like almost all of these guys we have on, like we know them. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not just like you watch them. It's like, yo, we used to travel with them, or we played tournaments, or we played college, or whatever for a long. So like we kind of know stories that like people don't know. You know what I mean? And you get to hear some of the cool like behind the scenes stuff. And that's the whole goal of the show, is like, what are these guys like really? Not just, hey, walk us through your round. And then they all say the same, yeah, I just trust the process and like one shot at a time and all that stuff, that we don't want to be that.
Yeah.
I asked Deeks when he was on, I said, can you confirm that about the story with Dre in Mexico? I said, was that true? He goes, can confirm.
100% confirmed. I think he's still wanted by the federales down there.
That's so good. Drew, do we want to do questions from the gallery, big boy?
Hold on, I had one more. Oh, this
okay.
may be a dumb question on my part, but I don't believe in dumb
questions.
Perfect.
No, dude, I do the same.
Yeah, like when you host the show, there's no dumb questions. They may sound dumb coming out, but
it's your show.
You just brought up starts. So when you get your card, you're on for a year. Let's just say you have a year card or a year contract, or it's not a contract. You said starts, or Colt. He has 3 starts left. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Sorry. So like, for instance, like Colt, he was a full member of the PGA Tour, right? But then he gets an injury.
Okay.
And let's say he played 12 events or something on the PGA Tour at the time. Well, at that time, if you get a medical, you can get a medical like pause basically on your career. Like you typically have to finish in the top 125, right? At the end of the year to retain your card. At that point, they put you on pause, and you get to pause it until you're healthy again. And then you can resume your starts, and you have X number of starts left to finish to make as many FedEx Cup points as it took the year that you took the pause to retain your card. So if you got 12, I don't know exactly what the number is. Let's say it's 25 events. Then if Colt paused it at 12 or someone paused it at 12, then you get like 13 more. And you might take 5 months off. You come back. It's like, all right, dude, you got 13 starts and you need X amount more FedEx Cup points to retain your card and become a full like member again. And so, yeah, that's what I mean by like starts. So it's like, if you got 13 left and you'd use 10 of them, and you ain't at the number yet to keep your card, it's like, all right, I got 3 more starts and I got to make X amount of FedEx Cup points. So I got to get going. Like Morgan Hoffman's in that right now, playing on his status.
Right. Okay. That makes sense then. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go to the segment called questions from the gallery, and I'll throw this question in the bottom there because we don't want to keep too much time of yours, Drew.
All good.
All right. Yeah. The post, what do we call it, Tori? It's been, we haven't done a podcast in like 2.5 weeks. It feels like the post show of oh my God.
What the fuck, Drew?
The reading, dude. It's tricky.
Questions from the gallery, sponsored by Rubber Co. Rubber Co was founded in 2021. It's made out of 100% recycled tires and has tons to offer. We offer rubber parking blocks, speed bumps, gym flooring, and matting. And now our new hockey devices. Check out the website at www.rubberco.com or can follow us on social media at Rubberco. And can call as well at 306-541-9840. Drew, think with your head and choose the right rubber.
Oh, Rubberco. Shout out Rubberco. They're going to be thrilled with that, bro. Time for them to re-up.
Wow. Holy, just an absolute fumble.
We might have to have you record some of ours for us. I love the way you handle that shit. That's nice.
Thank you. I'll drop my email later.
Done.
Okay. I got 5 here, maybe 6. Tori probably has a few, but you tell us when you're ready to go. We'll hang the scene up, or if you want to go all night, we'll go all night.
All right, I'm ready.
Sleazy man, nickname, and who's Gravy?
Gravy is Colt, obviously. So Steve Elkington came up with that a number of years ago. That was kind of like the nickname Elk gave to him. Tons of we don't call Colt, I'm with Colt probably more than anyone. I don't say what's up Gravy or something like that. You know what I mean? Not a ton of people call him that. I call him BG most of the time, which is just Big Gravy. Hey, yo, BG,
like that.
What are we doing tonight or whatever? But that's where Colt got his. And it's from Elkington a number of years ago. You think you said something like smooth like gravy or some,
what a sneaky legend Elkington is, by the way.
Elk's a fucking peach, bro. Elk's awesome. Elk, y'all need to get Elk. Funny. He's fun. He's got stories for days, by the way. Sharp dresser, Elk, too. And then Sleeze came from a buddy of mine that all y'all's boys know from. He's from Denver, but his name's Derek Tolan. He was like a little child prodigy. We call him. This is great. So he qualified for the U.S. Open at age 16, right? He's one of those dudes, and he was winning a bunch of shit, and he was great and all that stuff. So I grew up with him, and he went to Colorado, kind of had similar, mini tour career, never got on tour. Now he's an assistant coach at CU. So we call him Peak 16, which is great because, like we say, he peaked at age 16. But he named me Sleaze, dude, this is probably a decade ago. I don't know, 8 years ago, something like that. We were playing around a golf. He used to come stay with me, play some jickeys together. We were playing a little money game, in between tournaments. And I was hitting it shit. He was hitting it good. I was missing tons of greens, but getting up and down from everywhere. Hit it in the, missed the fairway, missed the green, chip it up to this. He'd hit the fairway green, tap in. We were tying. We were tying every hole with pars. Kind of a nasty day. And after the 7th or 8th hole, I hit it in the desert or something. I made some just nasty, up and down that went up there to a foot, and he misses his putt and we tie. And he says something walking off the green, these are some of the sleaziest pars I've ever seen in my life. And I just kind of giggle. I'm yeah, you suck. And it was a nothing. It was a complete throwaway comment. We never even thought about it again. Then the remainder of the round, anytime I'd miss a green, he'd say something well, here comes the sleaze again, or get ready for the sleaze or something like that. And dude, from that moment, we got in the grill afterwards, hey, how'd it go? It's well, this fucking sleaze shot 72 with hitting 8 greens or whatever it was. And dude, from that point on, everyone was Sleaze or Sleazy D or whatever. And dude, it just stuck. No one up at the club or wherever calls me Drew ever. No one calls me Drew. You know what I mean? Of except for my older friends that called me Stoltz before Sleaze ever happened. You know what I mean? So that's where that came from.
I hear you.
All right.
Last name from me.
I'm going to take one from your show. If you could trade lives with anybody for one day, who is it?
Dude, I always think about that. I've actually just did one where they asked me that too. So I'm gonna have to go with 2 people that I would want to be, and they kind of got the same theme. But I'm a big comedy guy. I love comedy. I love stand up. I think it's the hardest gig in the world, and the guys that are good at it are fucking animals. But I think I'd like to be a Ricky Gervais. He's my favorite, probably. Ricky, Bill Burr, and Chappelle are my 3 favorite comics. I'd probably like to be Ricky and just come out in an auditorium and just fucking smash and just have the crowd in the palm of my hands. That would be one. And the other one I would like to say, it's a similar theme, but I also like hip hop. I like older hip hop. Now I'm getting older and I think all the new shit stinks, right? Which it does. But I've seen this dude probably 4 or 5 times, but I think one day of being Jay-Z would not be. If I could pop up from under the stage and come up in the smoke and shit at Madison Square Garden and then have 15,000 people saying every single word to all my and just rocking an entire arena, sign me up for that. Oh, by the way, I go home and guess who's there? Beyonce's there, so that's not a terrible gig either. But I think one of those 2 guys would probably be my guys, just to have a whole arena or auditorium, just living and dying with everything you do. That'd be all time.
You guys should do that next year at Waste Management. Just do one of the holes, hole 16, and then just come out.
Just pop up, just wrap it. Yeah. I got 99. Yeah. That'd be sick.
Did Charles Howell, did he say Tupac? Or was he just
I don't know if his
Oh no,
was
it was the
Tupac,
poster.
but he loves Pac, dude.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. He had like his 2 posters in his college dorm room were like Ben Hogan's One Iron at Marion and Tupac, which you'd never think for like Charles Howell, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He might have said Pac actually as his answer. Wouldn't have expected that.
Elon Musk, that's who he said.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he's a couple dudes have said him. That'd be nice just to control the world and have 800 Billy laying around.
Okay. I know you're visor or hat, and why?
I haven't worn a hat in probably a decade. I had to wear them in college when we played because they weren't making the TCU visors at the time, which was a huge cramp on my style because I have an enormous head and it's really hard for me to find hats that don't look like little baby hats on my head. So starting in like early college, every time I'd come home for summer, I just wore visors for every amateur tournament. Then I go back to college, I have to wear a hat. But dude, I've been a visor guy for, I don't know, 15 plus years. I don't even own a hat anymore. It's all visors all the time. And it started just because my head is so fat that it's hard to find hats that fit right.
Dude, I hate when they won't come down far enough, you know?
Well, that's what every hat. Then there's some new ones now that come out that I probably could wear. But now when I put a hat on, dude, I feel like so claustrophobic. Like I'm all cramped up and shit. And I like my lettuce to be able to breathe up top a little bit. So yeah, 100% visor all the time.
I love it.
High socks or low socks?
High is dude. High. I've been doing that too. That started in college when I had the horrible like sock tan line that every golfer gets. You know, it's like a straight line below your ankle. And like if you want to wear sandals to class, like people do, you know, I'm like, it looks like shit. It looks awful. So I was like, dude, I started like playing qualifiers and practicing. I would just raise the sock level like a little bit, just so it wasn't that exact same straight line. Then I started wearing long socks. I was like, kind of like this. And then the first tournament I ever did it at was our conference tournament. I ended up winning the individual, the only college tournament I won. And so I was like, this is it. Like this is my new, like, I got to keep the juju. So I've worn high socks ever since.
I want to find this photo. While Tori asks this question, I want to find this photo and ask. No.
Okay. Kind of two-parter. What's your favorite course you've ever played, and what's the best course you've ever played?
They're probably the same for me. This is a hard one to answer, but I think they're the same. The best course I've ever played by a mile, hands down, is Pine Valley. It's so good. It's one of the only courses I've ever played where you walk off and you're like, there's not one bad hole. There's not one medium hole. Like they're all fucking good. It's so hard. Like you go to certain courses that are famous, like, oh, number 16, oh, number 12, oh, or there's like 3 or 4 or 5 or something. Like Pine Valley is just 1 through 18. Incredible golf. I have not played Augusta National, so that could maybe possibly change the rankings, but I played a lot of the good ones, man. And nothing's even close to that, in my opinion. I think that would probably be my answer for both. It's the best golf course I've ever played by a mile.
Wow.
Those them?
Oh, there we go.
Hard and
oh, no,
fair. Oh, there you go. That's that's the 4-ball, isn't it?
Is that them?
That's the 4-ball? Yeah, that's them, dog. That's what I rock. I normally rock some. I got some with like, you know, designs and colors. I got some Tupac socks. I got some Outcast socks I like to bring out, but I figured it's USGA. Let's keep it, you know, let's not need to be so loud at that thing. So I just wore the flat whites.
Keep it classy. The white tube socks you get in your stocking when you're 7.
Yeah, dude. I respect the USGA. I didn't want to discredit that fine organization with anything too loud.
I love it.
I get torched if I wore those. Low round, and how many hole ones?
Yeah, low round is 61 at Whisper Rock, which it was 11 under, and I was 1 over through 2. Second hole is a long par 3. I made bogey on. I played the rest 12 under, and it was the course record for about a year, and that's pretty cool because that golf course. I mean, dude, every tour player, every guy comes through. You know, all the guys that are members out there, Rom, and I mean, you can name them. There's millions of them. That was the lowest ever, and then the son of a bitch, Ches Reavie, like a year later, shot a 60. It had been 62, dude. It had been 62 for like a decade plus. No one had broken 62. I don't even know if anyone had even tied 62 for forever. And then I shot. I was like, oh my god, dude, I'm gonna have a course record at the lower at Whisper Rock. This is unbelievable. And then Nova, and then a year later, Ches snatches it. So that was shit. And And then what was my second question? That was low
Hole
round,
in ones.
61. Oh, hole in ones. I got 5, and I haven't had one in ages, dude. I got to
Shit.
5 like fair. I made 5 and like I had none into college, and then I made 5 in like just a handful of years, and I haven't made one since. Bastards.
Boom.
Deadly. Tori.
Who has been like, who is God bless Tori.
Yeah.
Who made you the most starstruck that you've ever played with?
Oh.
Hey, we're just so nervous, Drew. We just
I get it, dude. I get it. You know what I mean? I respect it. I respect the game. The most starstruck. God, this is gonna sound funny, I guess, just because it's not like the biggest star in the world. And I've been around some like pretty big name dude, you know what I mean? Like you see a lot of guys. I've played with a lot of the guys, but the guy, I don't ask for pictures. I don't ask for signed shit for me or, oh my God, can we be friends? But like a year or so ago, I was at Whisper Rock sitting down. These dudes, a buddy of mine was like, hey, Sleeze, come over here. I want you to meet some friends of mine. So I walk over. Hey, this is so-and-so. They're in from Orlando. Hey, how you doing? Hey, this is Johnny's in from Orlando. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? The last dude, I shook his hand. He stands up, looks at me. He's like, hey, I'm Jason. I shake his hand. I was like, holy fuck, like Jason Williams, like white chocolate Jason Williams, right?
Oh,
and I was like, what the fuck? I didn't know you played golf. What are you doing here? All that stuff. And they're like, hey, grab a seat with us. I was like, okay. So I sit down and end up like chopping it up with Jason Williams. Couldn't have been a nicer guy. Couldn't have been cooler. We still communicate like a little bit back and forth. And at the end of the time, I was like, Jason, dude, like I promise, I know you've heard this 8 billion times. I don't ask for pictures. Do you mind if I get a picture? Like you've been my all-time guy from like when you came out, when you're with the Kings and Florida and all that stuff. And he's like, yeah. So I got a picture with Jason Williams, and that when he like left and then we started texting or whatever, I was like, dude, that's Jason Williams. Like that's the freaking dude. You know what I mean? But I've been around way bigger guys, and that just doesn't really, I'm not like I don't like sound dumb, but like, I don't really get like super starstruck. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit, that's so-and-so. But Jason Williams was massive for me. And I guess I'll say, just to be fair, the first time I met Phil and played with Phil, I was like nervous.
You get so used to it, like even just caddying at Shoal. Like I've been with, God knows how many celebrities, and after a while, it's just like I mean, you know the old saying, like they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like everyone else. Like they're just normal people.
They just want to be normal. They are normal. They just don't want to be bothered and shit. And it's like they're just crazy good at whatever it is that they do. You know what I mean? That's like they're not like some like God or something. Some of them could be assholes too. You know what I mean? So when you get the cool ones, it's even better. But like, yeah, Jay Will, that was my guy.
That's so. See, and that's like I get a question all the time from like just people I know, like, oh, what's it like talking to that guy? It's like just another
probably like it is talking to everybody else.
Yeah,
he's really good at hockey or whatever it is.
Yeah,
you know?
just chatting, and you know, now we're best friends, so that's cool.
Yeah, of course.
But,
yeah, coming to my wedding, so whatever.
Okay, the Red Solo Cup. Is that like I've seen enough of the videos? Is it always a Red Solo Cup? And if it is, don't change it. I feel like that's your guys' thing. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, we had all these red solo cups in the studio, and it was just like that was what we'd use every time, you know. And then I feel like those went away, and now there's like coolers, or now we have coolers with like birdie juice and stuff on them. So like we use those kind of, and we got like the doers sitting up front, so we try to, you know, like a clear cup or something, so you can see that it's doers or whatever. But yeah, for a long time it was those red solo cups, and I typically would drink like a transfusion, typically a super transfusion during the show. It's like transfusion, you drink like a little bit of it down, and then I pour Red Bull in to top it off, and it's back, and that's the super trans. So that's typically what I drink.
So I'm definitely not telling you what to do or how to do it, but I think the Red Solo Cup, you should ask the company that sponsors you. You said Birdie Juice, is that what it is?
Well, that's like our brand of stuff that we have out there. Yeah.
Wrap it in a red Solo. That'd be sick. Cause that's just like, that's her thing.
Yeah. The Solo is like the OG cup, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
it looks
It's just
sick.
like just down to earth. Like, yo, no frills, no nothing. All I need's this. Yeah.
All right. This is my last one. Who's the best shit talker you've ever played with?
Probably Phil.
Or that you know of on tour. Okay.
Phil is real good, but Phil has this like flex that works on pretty much anyone in the world other than Tiger. Just about how many majors he's won and how many, what, you know what I mean? Like we were playing, we were out at the Madison Club like 3 or 4 years ago. They had this pro scratch event out there. It's freaking awesome. All your boys, all those dudes playing it. And so Phil will have like a little group over to Madison Club where he's a member. He plays over there. to come back and like have a dinner, drink wine, play cards, all the bullshit, right? But it's like Phil's the ringleader of all this because it's his spot. So it's like, yeah, all right, pack up your stuff, get ready, come over 7 o'clock. We're gonna meet over at Madison. Cool. Get over there. We get in there, and it's like a bunch of name dudes in there, right? It's all Phil's buddies and tour players and stuff. And we're all sitting at this table. The middle seat's like left empty. That's Phil's. And he ain't there. And we're like, where the fuck is Phil? All this, everyone's talking shit. God damn, invites everyone to dinner and he's fucking late, all that type of stuff. Well, like 10 minutes later, whatever, he walks down and he's wearing a Padres hat and a white robe. And it's a Ryder Cup robe, right? And he walks down like flip flops. It wasn't like he was getting ready for dinner. You know what I mean? Like he looks like he's ready to go for a day at the spa. And he comes down, like doesn't say anything, like sits in the chair and like kind of thanks everyone's like, sorry boys, it took me so long. When you got 8 of these, it's hard to pick out which one to wear. You know what I mean? Like, I got 8 of the, or however many Ryder Cups he's played in, probably more than that. You know what I mean? But he's like, you got 10 of these things. It's hard to pick out which one to wear. Just like shit like that. It's always like, about winning something or whatever. And there's really no comeback for a lot, unless you're Tiger. And then that's got to all go to bed at that point.
Was it your show? I can't remember who the country singer was, maybe Colt Ford or someone like that went up to him at Jordan Spieth's wedding and said something about like the match was a waste of $100 or $29 and he owed him his money back.
Yeah, he said,
Jake Owen, that's who it was. Okay. And then he said fucking, what did he say? He gave him $100 and he said, hey, I made 90,000 of these the other day.
Yeah, exactly. He gave him 100, said, here you go. I got 90,000 of these last Thursday or whatever it was. Yeah.
Unreal.
That's the kind of stuff. Like, what do you say? Oh, yeah, well, I got 100,000. Oh, no, I don't. It's like, it's just like the big boy flex. Like, I've done this, I've won this or money. It's like, but Phil will like chirp you, but he like loves it if you give it back to him too. You know what I mean? Like, I remember I think there's been a few of them, but like he wears those big gator belts. You know what I mean? Or he used to, like, they were big gator skin. All this shit's like gator lizard or whatever it is. And someone made a comment about his belt or something like that. He's like, yeah, dude, this is pure, Argentinian crocodile or whatever. I was like, God damn, how many they have to kill to get around your big ass? Like, and he like loves, like shit like that. I was like, how many had to die to make that belt?
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah. I have one more for you. I think this might be past our quota with you, but actually it's kind of one. Quick one is, do all the guys that come on your show sign that your backdrop? That's so cool, by the way.
Yeah, anyone that's in person. We have to do some on Zoom like y'all do, you know what I mean? But anything in person, it's all signed on that wall. Yeah.
That's sick. 2, I don't know if you want to talk about it or if you can comment on it or not. Live PGA, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, that's a big topic there. I just say this, like, we've talked about it on radio like ad nauseum for the past few weeks. My stance is this: I do not blame any dude that packs up and leaves for a game-changing amount of money. Like, who am I to tell a guy what you can make, what you're worth, what you should make, what you do? I'm not one that believes that, just because someone pays you to do your job, that means you fully endorse every single belief that they have. I think it's possible to do business with people. I mean, you sign off on everything. I mean, there's businesses out there. Look at Nike. Every guy that's wearing Nike. Does that mean you endorse sweatshops or child labor? Like, probably not. But no one seems to, you know what I mean? Yeah. Saudis are on a whole different level. But I just think if someone's willing to pay you to provide your service, who am I to tell you that you can't do it or that you're going the wrong place? That being said, I do think all the golfers, the PGA Tour is juicing purses now, right? All these dudes are going to get more money, whether you stay on the PGA Tour or go to live, you're going to be playing for more money than you ever have in your life. The people that are probably going to lose are the fans, because now instead of all the best players in the world playing on one tour, they're going to play on 2. And now you get fewer events where they're all together. You get less, the product gets diluted, the players get richer, but the fan gets hurt in the whole deal, is kind of my take. I don't blame a single dude that goes over there. If someone put a $200 million contract and said, sign here and you get $200 million, like, I can't tell you I'm going to say no. You know what I mean? Like, and nobody can until you've had that piece of paper in front of your face. You don't know what you're going to do. With the people that want to throw stones or people that don't have that opportunity, never will have that opportunity. So who are you to tell another guy what they should do? But as a fan, I don't think you can argue that it's good. You're just going to get 2 tours that dilute the best talent. It'd be like if the NBA chopped in half and you got, NBA 1 and NBA 2. Well, you ain't going to get the same caliber of play you're going to get if they were all in the same league. So that the fan's the one that ends up losing in all this, I think. And I think over time they'll come together. There will be a happy medium and things will get figured out where guys can play both ways. Otherwise, it's just going to get too messy. Everything always shakes out.
I'm brutal at this, and that was an unbelievable take on it. Last thing, I always ask a question. One piece of advice for a young listener today, whether it's to make it to the PGA, do a successful podcast, be a doctor, whatever. I love this question. I think our listeners love it. So, right from you, Drew.
Man, I think it just takes balls. Like if you have big aspirations, you want to be something big, something that, makes a difference. Like you got to do it. Eventually you got to do it. And there's a lot of people that got dreams, and it's not necessarily the guys that make it are like maybe the best or the most qualified but they hump, you know what I mean? They go, they grind, and they do it, and they put themselves out there, and you just can't be afraid to fail. Like you're not going to be whatever you want to be a doctor. Like you're not gonna be the best doctor day one. What you want to be a podcaster, you ain't gonna be the best podcaster day one. You just got to go do it. You got to fall on your face to get back up and get better and better. And I think just like perseverance and like attitude more than anything. Like somebody's gonna, whatever it is you want to be, somebody's gonna go be it. Like why not you?
I love it. Wow, Drew, this is unbelievable.
That's deep shit, dude. That was deep. That was thoughts from Sleeze. That was
one of my favorites.
Deep.
I love it. That was awesome. Tori, thanks again for setting this one up. Drew, man, this has been awesome. I've been wanting to get you on for a long time. I'm happy we got to do it, and keep crushing what you guys are doing, you and Colt. And man, like I said, I appreciate coming on today, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. Tori, Drew, thanks, man.
Appreciate you, boys. You got it.